And meanwhile, we're looking at I guess aftermath is a strong word, but the results of the work that have been going on with MDOT and other road crews. And Nick Schirripa's back to talk with us about salt today. Hi, Nick.
Good morning, sir.
So salt is still the melting agent of choice, isn't it?
Yeah, that's generally what we use.
And there's some other pre-treatments and things like that, but nothing really is as good, is it?
No, and we don't have kind of another option for salt. Imagine your standard household toolbox. You got a hammer and a screwdriver and a wrench, and what toolbox wouldn't be complete without duct tape? Our winter maintenance toolbox, we've got underbody blades, we've got front blades, we've got wing blades. So we have three different kinds of blades, much like you'd have three different kinds of screwdrivers.
Uh-huh.
We have salt. We have a pre-treating compound, calcium chloride is what it is. So we've got a handful of tools in our toolbox. And one doesn't really replace the other, but they work in concert with each other.
Yes.
So we can plow and use different blades to get snow and slush and ice off the road. We can use salt when there is already snow and ice on the road to help break it up. And that usually works above 20 degrees. And then we have the calcium chloride pretreatment, which goes down on a dry road and has to have enough time to dry itself on the road. So it forms a bond with the road, which prevents the snow and slush and ice from bonding to the road itself. So it makes it easier for our guys to remove it, our guys and gals, I shouldn't be so exclusive, our plow operators to remove it as they plow.
Are we using salt less than we used to? That is to say, when not necessarily talking about freeways, but MDOT routes that aren't freeways, I seem to see more salt in intersections than across the board.
Well, there's a couple reasons for that, actually. It's not just, we're not using less of it. We're using it more efficiently now. We've done some things over the last few years. We've decreased the speeds of our plows when salting, which helps prevent bounce and scatter, helps keep the salt where we want it. So we're using less in that sense. We're more efficient. But if you have a plow that's on, we'll say, an M route, M89 in Battle Creek, and comes to a stoplight, and they stop, there's kind of a moment where the spinny, rotating distribution mechanism in the back of the truck kind of winds down. So you get kind of a salt dump at that point. So it's still spinning when they come to a stop, and as they stop, it slows, but there's kind of an excessive amount that's dumped at that spot, and you get spread out at the intersection. So that might be why it looks like there's more at intersections. But certainly as you're approaching a stop, you want to be able to stop. So they do tend to use a little bit more at intersections just to help speed that process up.
Mm-hmm. Are there different kinds of salt that work differently, or is it all pretty much the same?
It's all pretty much the same. We pre-treat our salt, again, with that same calcium chloride that we pre-treat the roads with, but we pre-treat the salt because it helps the salt stick to the road. But the salt itself is all pretty much the same.
I ask because you talk about that 20 degrees thing, which we've heard a lot over the course of the years. In the city of Battle Creek, for example, today, they've used salt everywhere, and it's melted stuff. So I'm curious if maybe that might have been different than what you use.
And a lot of that has to do with travel speeds and volumes as well. If you're on a high volume, like Michigan Avenue through downtown Battle Creek, a high volume road with slower traffic speeds, you're getting some of that ambient heat from the vehicles passing over it and the friction, which helps warm up the road temperature a little bit. On something like I-94, when you may have, in fact, a pretty high traffic volume, you're getting a little bit quicker speeds, and it doesn't provide that same kind of radiant heat off the bottom of the vehicles that it would on a slower speed road.
Interesting. Right, because if you're flying down the highway, there's no time to heat the road.
Right, you're not getting that slower speed or that stop and start that you would on a local road.
All right, MI Drive, good thing to have on a day like today.
Yeah. If you don't have the My Drive app, get it on your phone or your tablet. You can get it free from the App Store or the Google Play Store. Just search for My Drive. And if you don't find it on your work computer, grab it, get it on your home computer, michigan.gov/drive.
And that will give you updates on road problems and conditions and things like that.
Yeah, you can turn on and off several layers. You can look at traffic speeds. You can look at incident locations. You can see where our plows are. Many of them have cameras in the plows, so you click on the little plow icon on the map, and you'll get a live look at what that plow driver is seeing at that moment.
All right, My Drive, MI Drive. Download that app for your phone, your smartphone, or your tablet. All right, Nick, thank you. Nick Schirripa, Michigan Department of Transportation update.